And we are live here at LMA, the final day, just wrapping it up. Just had a great conversation with Tim and the Fishbowl concept. That's a pretty neat concept. Basically bringing a couple of experts in. Tim moderated it, and a bunch of great people just coming in, providing their insights. Tim keeping it all along, providing some great context within it. And by the way, you'll hear a little action here. We are live in the exhibit hall, so you'll be hearing some noise. We're going to keep rocking with it. But Tim, tell us a little bit about the future state, which was our topic.
First of all, I'd like to say the Fishbowl approach is pretty cool. I think this is the second year we've done this at LMA. First of all, it gives me a chance to wear my mermaid costume, which I have so few chances to do.
Look great.
But what I like about it is it forces multiple people to participate. So there's a couple experts, like you would have a panel, and then there's a number of people who come up, sit at the table, ask a question, have a dialogue. They can even answer a question. There's no rules. And then they step off, someone else steps in. I really like that. It's becoming more popular in various conferences I've attended. I even saw it happen at a law firm retreat once, and sometimes that's a good thing to get the lawyers to stop talking because it's someone else's turn.
That's it. You can tap them out, really feeding off each other.
Exactly.
So talk to us just about a few of the topics that you thought really resonated. People were coming in and sort of pivoting all different ways, but a couple sort of things bubbled to the top of the
So the
bowl.
future of law is such a broad topic, and we tried to set it up so you could talk about the future of law and what it means to me as an individual marketer. What about to my firm or to this association or just to the industry at large? And so we had questions across the spectrum. I would say a couple of key themes. Maybe we'll help me remember all the themes we heard, and then we'll talk about each. There was technology. How is technology changing things? There's a discussion of the role of sales in law firms. New topic, never heard that before. No, it's actually I'm kidding, right? Of course, but what's really intriguing is it's recurring as a hot topic. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of discussion about the flexibility. Law firm, do we need to be in the office? Can we be remote? And variations on that theme. And what else was there?
We talked a little bit about culture as well.
Oh, yeah.
And and thinking about who are going to be kind of the winners and losers. We got people investing in different things, modeling different things. You talked a little bit about your time doing compensation and how those levers could perhaps impact things.
Let me tell you, we've had a little bit of insight into partner compensation at various points over the years at LMA conferences. But you know what the secret sauce is? If marketers really understood what the financial motivators or demotivators were for the law firm partners they work with, mm-hmm. It would change everything. Because we spend a lot of time talking about things that they should be doing, and sometimes the partners even know they should be doing.
Right. But
it's not in their economic best interest to do so.
Yeah.
Topic for another day, but let me tell you, there's a lot behind the scenes.
Well, that's the mission critical part. We all want to take something home, have something pragmatic that you can plug in. But, I go to my bosses, it's, change management is about carrots and sticks at the end of the day, right? You've got to communicate, you got to do those things, but, if you're not pulling different levers to impact the behaviors or change the behaviors you want to see, then, we're all just sitting here spinning circles.
Well, that ties into, I think, the culture conversation we had. We had some really good questions about culture, and some of it related to the necessity of being in a firm, in an office, being together to maintain that culture, sometimes to have the greatest opportunities for business development or even just connecting with your colleagues. Mm-hmm. And I agree. As I said in the session, we are pack animals. Human beings are not solo, right? We survive and thrive by being together, which is why in prisons it's such a worse... The punishment is to put you in isolation because we need to be around others. And so what I find interesting is we learned how to work in isolation. Nobody thought law firms could operate completely remotely, and most of us know a lot of lawyers who had never touched a computer beyond tapping out an email, and suddenly we're on Zoom. Yeah. And so it was a pretty interesting change. But I think the observation about culture is those organizations that are intentional about their culture, about making sure that people are connected, about making sure that doesn't matter whether you're close, you're far, you're junior, you're senior, everyone has a role, everyone knows their role, there's good communication. And in fact, you may have seen this in your firm, but some of the greatest stories about connection within law firms happened in those first 60 days of COVID, when we had no idea if this is the rest of our lives or if we're going to make any money, if we'll have jobs.
Existential, yeah, exactly.
We had no idea. And so there was such great communication about this shared trauma almost. And people were like, that's the best aspect of our culture. We communicate. And now that we can get back together again, we're replacing proximity with that connection, right? So, well, I guess I see my people, so we must be connecting and collaborating perfectly again. Well, we weren't doing so before.
Yeah.
So.
Hopefully taking best practices from both sides. Also, an interesting thing that came on in Future State was considerations around the metaverse. We're seeing a couple of firms, putting their toes in the water. Lots of implications. Lance and Julie were talking a little bit about that, and that led into the Fishbowl conversation. But jurisdictional issues. There's a lot out there with the metaverse, with ChatGPT, and I think those technologies are going much further ahead than the law is catching up. So
it's interesting, the metaverse. I'm not the best one to define the terms, but I'll say there's two sort of categories of opportunities. One is this is a practice area opportunity, right? And some of the folks in the Fishbowl talked about this. Our IP lawyers are seeing infringement, and they're seeing opportunities for other entities, other businesses, other individuals participating in a meta life, and it's got a different set of rules, or it has no rules, and so therefore they've got to translate the rules. So right. Great practice opportunity for some. And the other aspect is, how should law firms embrace this themselves? Now, we've got gray hair, but you're way younger than I am, dude. And I remember a time, one of the first businesses I ran in this space was developing websites for law firms back in the 90s. And then there was this notion of, there's no possible way we're going to be marketing ourselves on this weird computer-based...
World Wide Web.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, this interwebs. And turned out we embraced it pretty well, right? The concept of it's just another medium. It's just another place that if your clients are there and you have something to say to them, then that's a way to do it. The big objection in the early days of websites was partners saying, well, I don't go on the internet. Well, who asked you, right? Shouldn't we be asking your clients? Is that a useful place for them to find information? And turns out it was a pretty good place, right? Same thing here. The lawyers may not embrace technology generally or being part of the metaverse specifically, but personally, but who cares?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you are, unless that's your practice area, but if you understand that might be a medium for broadcasting the firm's credentials, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and it underscores, what we talk about amplifying our roles and amplifying, really stepping up, and being a leader in the space. Attorneys know how to attorney, and we know how to do what we do. And, the more we can delineate that and push that agenda forward, I think the better off we are.
Yeah, I agree.
Next year we have LMA in San Diego. That should be pretty exciting. And that will be April 3rd to 5th. Any closing thoughts for you, Tim, here as we wind down here in Miami?
Yeah, I'll say that there's a good energy here. I think this is my 26th conference, and I still feel like I'm 31 years old. And so I look around, I'm like, I don't know most people. And there was a time when I looked around and I knew quite a few people. And having been a speaker at the conference for a number of years and on the board and so on, a lot of people knew me, and so I had a lot of interactions. Now I know almost no one, as a proportion of the attendees, and I think that's fantastic. Yeah. One, I think those of us who have had our time in the sun should fade away and let the junior people take the stage, and they are. Yeah. But I also think it's such a healthy thing for the profession, not only for legal marketing generally, but certainly for LMA, that there's such an influx of new energy. There's people who are going to school with a specific understanding of how to translate these ideas into different areas of commerce, and law firms are just one area. So I don't know that there's any legal marketing degrees out there, but there are people coming here from school, whereas legal marketing used to be where you landed when nothing else worked out.
Yeah, at least it's something they've heard of. That's always my joke. Some people wanted to grow up and be an astronaut. I wanted to be a legal marketer, which of course is a joke because it didn't exist when we were
right.
10. But nonetheless, thanks so much. Actually, the one thing I was going to say was, we do have 300. Just to underscore your point, 300 first-timers this year, almost 1,100 people. So 400 first-time.
Wow. They counted.
So the one thing I did neglect to mention was we had 400 first-timers this year and 1,100 folks. So they
400 first-timers. That's such a fantastic. There's so many levels to that. First of all, they're coming.
Yep.
They find it valuable. Their firms have approved it, and not everyone is from a firm with multiple marketing staff and a CMO who gets it, right? A lot of the folks I talk to at the first time of reception or elsewhere are like, no, I'm my solo marketer, or I'm the only one from my team coming, or most of us aren't members of LMA. And like, what a testament to the value of this association to give back and provide a roadmap for how to succeed in this career and how to get content and information about advancing your expertise. I just think that's such a great testament. It's not just about, hey, the economy is pretty good, so people are frivolously spending money. No, people are making conscious choices that I want to go to LMA, and that's going to incur a budget expense, and I'm going to have to defend that expense to someone. And it's worth it.
Yeah, the body of knowledge has been really helpful. You helped, I know, pull that together as the Hall of Famer here. Anyway, we'll check out here from Miami, Hollywood, Florida. Mike Mellor, Tim Corcoran. We'll see you in San Diego.
Wow.